Statutory compliance has become something which organizations really want to address. It impacts the taxation team in the finance and accounts team, it impacts the accounts payable team, as well it directly impacts the financial controller and the CFO in an organization by virtue of the kind of things this throws up. So we decided to dive into some more details with them to understand the kind of issues they face. But the number one thing was definitely the whole indirect tax, which is a big part of the kind of load that it creates. The biggest element of that, I guess, would be complex GST requirements that we have in India, right from multiple rates to dividing into state center, etc. So one of the things people are talking about is this new IRN regime where everybody above 5 crores now needs to submit an IRN invoice, and you need to make sure that if the vendor is supposed to submit an IRN invoice, it does that. So how do you handle this increased load of vendors who are going to submit IRN invoices to you? Ensuring that when a vendor charges, because these new vendors would have come in, ensuring that they've charged the right kind of rate. Can the solution itself help them to go ahead and handle that? And then once the rate is clear, then breaking it up into CGST, SGST, IGST, so that the right kind of breakup of the GST is done, which in turn would ensure that the input tax credit that they are eligible for is something which gets taken care of properly. They need to check with portal if the vendor is already paid, and then design policies in terms of if the vendor is not paid the GST, what is it that they need to do about that. That has become a concern for that. GST reconciliation, again, what is there on the GST portal versus what is there in their system, how do they match up, are things which are taking up too much time. And a mistake in any of these is something which can turn out to be costly in terms of interest, in terms of fines, in terms of notices being sent to you. And then of course there is the handling of unregistered GST vendors and how you do it. So you get an idea, it's really complex, takes up a lot of people's time, cost of mistakes is very high, and therefore the need to have a digital process which would take care of it would be very essential. If we go beyond GST, probably the next highest area of pain is the whole aspect of TDS. And right, again, like GST, we have a complex TDS system, so many 194 sections. How do you link everything to the correct 194 sections? Situations in which vendors need to be charged a higher TDS rate, like when they don't have a PAN number, or if a vendor submits a lower TDS certificate, then going ahead and ensuring that you charge the lower TDS rate from them, all the way up to, again, reconciliation with the traces portal. And the traces portal gives a lot of issue. Add to this, like in the recent budget that we had, the whole thing of MSME vendors and the provisions for that becoming even more strict. So monitoring payments due to MSME vendors and ensuring that they happen on time is something which organizations want. Somehow, a lot of our customers are talking about large tax notices, and hence the ability to quickly go back to old data, pull it out, and being able to respond to these notices quickly is another part of the statutory load that they are talking about. Very importantly, it started in small numbers, but now I increasingly hear from all our CFOs that suddenly auditors want to go in more rigorous, they want to go more diverse, and they want to go more detailed into all aspects that they are auditing. And some of this has been precipitated, I guess, by the new CARO requirements which are there. Besides statutory compliances, we work a lot with companies in the financial services industry. And for them, in addition to the statutory compliance, they have the regulatory compliances. And being large companies, very often they have their own corporate policy related compliances which need to come up. Take all of this together, and the kind of impact the digital transformation of the accounts payable process can make for them and for the quality of life of their teams is significant. And that is why we are seeing a huge uptick in the requirement for Expenzing's account payable automation software.